There are so many things you can unwrap. You can unwrap Christmas presents. You can unwrap Twinkies and Ding Dongs. You could buy a burger from McDonald's and you unwrap it before you eat it. You can listen to polka music. That is very unwrap. When you buy a new DVD or Blu-ray, you also unwrap it. That is, of course, unless you're a member of Attack of the Killer podcast. Then you buy dozens of DVDs and Blu-rays and leave them sealed for months and months until it is time to do another Unwrapping episode. That's right, Unwrapping Part 6, maybe? On this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Hello and welcome to Attack of the Killer podcast. I'm your host, Insane Mike. This is episode 284, and we're doing another one of our famous Unwrapping episodes. This is where we go through our collections and we find those films that we were just so excited to buy and watch, but then just sit there on our shelves unopened until the end of time. The Unwrapping episodes forces us to finally open and watch those films. We each pick a movie we haven't opened, and we will finally see if it was worth buying in the first place. If this is your first time listening to Attack of the Killer podcast, we are a horror movie podcast. We're a group of friends. We get together, we pick a topic, and we discuss films within that topic. Now, we're all just friends, hanging out, having a good time, talking horror movies, drinking Zimas.
What?
So there may be spoilers.
What's a Zima?
I don't know. That's what them kids drink.
I guess.
Drinking those and eating Tide Pods, something like that. If you like our show, please consider supporting us and becoming an attacker. Ooh. Being an attacker means that you are more than just a fan of the show. You become part of the Killer Podcast family. For a small donation once a month, you get all kinds of perks and extra goodies. You can get bonus episodes, early access to the regular episodes, our YouTube shows, Killer Critiques, Insane Mike's Women in Top 10 lists, and the other one. That one. What's it called? You get those. And you also get exclusive invites to our watch parties, our monthly horror hangouts, and you even get to talk with other attackers in our exclusive Attack of the Killer chat. You get a membership card, certificate, sticker. You can even get shout-outs on the show like these attackers.
Yeah, shout-outs go to Jacob McLaughlin, Timothy Lennerer, Roman Doppelfeld, Larry Watanabe, Brett Royer, Seth Key, Jessica Irish, Chris Cook, Brian Godsill, Stephen Sitter, Brandy Moore, Andrew Moeller, Hot Rod Hutchinson, Carmen DeHague, Abraham Moreno, Jacob Book, Andrew Bentler, Casey Kelderman, Tony Miller, Mike Clayton, Rose Talashoma, Marcus Rude, Abe Kirshner, Lisa Cavalier, Holly Berg, Emily Randolph, and the comedian Bill Fisher. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Video updates.
Oh my God!
Just splice that back in there.
Yeah, I'll just now. Great, I don't have to edit
smooth.
any of that. Awesome, thanks.
You too can become an attacker by going to jointheattackers.com. Go there and you can pick the tier that best suits you to get the content you want. So again, that's jointheattackers.com. And now it is time to introduce you to the podcast crew. He kept unwrapping and unwrapping and unwrapping his presents. It took forever, and then he was really sad to see it was just a cardboard tube. Tad!
Ha ha ha. Hey, guys.
Back in college, he went to the pharmacy to buy some condoms. When the cashier rang up his purchase, she asked, "Do you need a bag, sir?" He said, "No thanks, she's not that ugly." Jason!
Come on, that's terrible. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
He went to his psychiatrist's office wearing nothing but saran wrap. The psychiatrist told him, "I can clearly see your nuts." Andy!
Hey, everybody.
Oh boy, speaking of nuts, you're nuts if you still have not subscribed to Shudder yet. Shudder is the premium streaming service with the best selection of horror movies, uncut and commercial-free. From Hollywood favorites to cult classics to original series and critically acclaimed new films you won't find anywhere else. You can get a month of Shudder for free thanks to us here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. Just enter our promo code AOTKP and you get a free 30-day trial thanks to us. Again, that promo code is AOTKP.
Out.
That's right. Get it today. And now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show, I assume. Here's Tad with What We Watched.
So here's the thing, guys. You might remember me pulling the curtain back a little bit last episode and saying, it's been a while since we recorded, so we're going to have really long lists. Well, I'm pulling the curtain back again, and we've only had 1 week since then, so I'm guessing this will be a much shorter list. But Andy, what have you watched?
Other than the podcast movies, I was able to go see John Wick 4, and I'm assuming you did as well, Tad?
Yeah, and that's my list.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yes, boy.
Awesome. Even
Fuck
though
yes.
Even though it's got a long run time, you don't care because it's so much damn fun. It does have a end credit sequence if you stay till the end, which it might have a continuation of a character. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything, but can't say enough good things in here. Donnie Yen is awesome. Scott Adkins' character is
Holy
awesome.
shit, yeah.
Anything, I will watch anything with Scott Adkins in it, regardless.
You might not recognize him in this right away.
Yeah, it's a completely different character than you're used to seeing him play. But yeah, he's great in this. Let's see who is. There's another the head bad guy, and I don't know his name in the film or the actor's name, but he was a head bad guy in Undisputed 3, which also had Scott Adkins. He's in this, and he's heavily featured in this, and he's a great action star too. But yeah, the whole Bill Skarsgård is just a fucking twerp in this. He's pretty ruthless, but yeah, he's great in it.
Clancy Brown.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah, he was really good. And you can tell that he was, just the subtle stuff that they showed you of him is that he's been part of this tribe of hired assassins for a long time, because he's got physical characteristics, like part of his finger is missing too, because John had to do the same thing in part 3. But yeah, just this.
We have like 3 or 4 villain / bad guys, but that's what's great about this franchise is that like a bad guy isn't necessarily a bad guy. They just are, because of the rules, they have to draw a name.
Yeah.
So it's like a bad guy that is not necessarily a bad guy. It's sort of confusing. And another guy who's just out to make his life better by taking, like, John Wick's just a huge target now. So
Yeah, so I mean, it creates a really different environment, because it's like he's got a bounty on his head, so all these other hitmen are trying to collect this bounty. So the other hitmen are trying to kill the other hitman because they don't want them collecting the bounty. So it creates and John's just trying to kill everybody. So yeah, it's just I mean, they've
it's like
set
a
the bar.
side-scrolling video game or something. Like,
Yeah, it's I'm gonna have to watch it again because I blinked a couple of times, so I might have missed something.
You might have missed,
Because-
6 kill scenes.
Yeah, because like
I mean,
you know,
literally,
they're always rolling around on the floor, so I don't know how many times a person got stabbed before they, did whatever. I mean, they've set the bar so high with these movies. I'm just like, how are you going to top this? I mean, there's a car chase scene in this roundabout in Paris, and it's like guns, kung fu, and car fu all in one. I mean, they took like the best elements of every John Wick movie that you've ever saw, and then they just they turned it into this mixed bag of just awesome, crazed violence and squealing tires and guns and gunshots, and just it's unbelievable.
and they cut 45 minutes out of it.
Jesus.
They cut 45 minutes out of this film.
First cut was 3 hours 45 minutes.
Whoa.
Oh my god!
Keanu says 108 words,
Yeah,
and it's 3 hours, guys.
Wow.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's almost like a modern day Mad Max, because I think like what did Mel Gibson had like 2 or 3 lines in the first Mad Max or something. I mean, it's weird, but I mean it works. And also, this is on the other side of the coin. I binged the first season of the new Night Court. That's
Is it good?
it's fun.
It looks cool.
It's fun. I mean, because I loved the old one when I was a kid.
Oh,
And I still do.
Huge. fan.
But yeah, it's got similar characters, and John Larroquette comes back, and he reprises Dan Fielding, and
I watched a few episodes of it myself out of curiosity, and then I just forgot how awesome John Larroquette was. Like,
God,
to me,
he's
he's
great.
the real star of the show, and he's so good in it.
oh,
'Cause
absolutely.
Because his character is really conflicted now with.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
changed. He's-
And it's quite interesting, and a lot of it it just seems way more based around him and his character. Probably doesn't help that he's a producer on it, but way more than what's her face, Bernadette.
Yeah, it's got your
Melissa
favorite.
Ranch.
Yeah. And I don't know if Jason, you know the premise or not, but she plays the daughter of Harry Anderson in it.
Yeah.
So.
They call her Abby Stone, but I learned in one of the last episodes, here's a bit of a spoiler, since she was Harry Stone's daughter, her real legal name is Abracadabra Stone.
Fuck
that's
yes.
awesome.
So that's why she's, Judge Abracadabra Stone, but yeah, it's not short for Abigail.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I thought of you, Mike, because I know you're the biggest Night Court fan ever. So I'm glad you at least saw some of it.
Yeah.
And apparently didn't like it because you didn't finish it.
Well,
I'm just
I keep going back into it here and there, but yeah, there's other things that I
Yeah,
that are bigger
Neon
priorities.
Maniacs. We know. We heard the bonus episode.
So those are the 2 things you've watched.
Yeah, other than the podcast movies.
All right, Jason, give me that big list.
Well, I got 4 things here. And
4?
none of them are
It's actually more
movies.
than-
So the main important thing is Ted Lasso's back. Season 3 has begun, and it's fucking awesome. Anyway, nobody cares.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, but I just don't. There's nothing about it that's appealing to me other than the positive reviews. So I'll give it a watch based on everybody's glowing.
It's my single favorite TV show that's ever been made.
From what I've seen or heard about it, it looks like something I'd enjoy. But it's
Probably.
just kind of flown under my radar. So.
Well, it's on Apple TV, and nobody has Apple
there
TV.
you go. That's why. Yeah.
Speaking of Apple TV, the highlight though of what I have been watching, the first season of Shrinking on Apple TV. Mike,
Harrison Ford, right?
yes, you have to see this show, and I know you won't because you don't have Apple TV, but it stars Jason Segel,
Oh, cool.
and then it has like all the old TV stars are people in the show, like Krista Miller is a big part in the show. I know you won't unless you see her face. It's this girl. She was on, God damn it, Drew Carey show.
Oh, okay.
Ted McGinley is
Oh,
is
nice.
like the greatest character of all time. He just plays her husband, and he's like the most aloof and positive, happy guy, and like is unfazable, and he's so fucking funny. And there's let's see, Wendy Malick's on there, and Neil Flynn. Tons of from Malcolm in the Middle and Scrubs.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's like tons of these old
I love
TV
him too.
stars, and Jason Segel plays a therapist. It's about a therapy practice and a bunch of therapists doing things and being therapists. It's called Shrinking. It's really good. It's on Apple TV. And then Mandalorian, been watching that. And then I don't think any of us have talked about it since The Last of Us finished, but I assume we were all watching that.
No.
Mandalorian.
Haven't
no.
seen it.
The Last of Us.
Oh,
No.
yeah. Yep. That's on my short list.
Yeah, that was awesome. Enjoyed that.
Glad you got to see it. Yeah, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last time I knew you hadn't watched it yet. So
Yeah. I'd been watching it every episode it came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm just drunk.
Yep, possibly.
Damn Zemas.
So that's what I watched.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Well, I too finished Last of Us. Fell a couple episodes behind there, because Simon was away on spring break, and we've been watching it all together. But yeah, it was awesome. Can't wait for season 2. But from the sounds of it, I will have to wait for a while because it's like
There is a season 2.
there will be. Well,
I
there's
was kind of hoping they weren't going to do that.
there is a second game, so
No,
and then
that's too bad.
the rumor is that they're going to stretch out the second game into like 2 seasons. So yeah, God, that's really other than been watching Justin Roiland show Solar Opposites. Very funny animated series very much in the vein of Rick and Morty. Pretty good, pretty funny. It's a Hulu exclusive. It was made for Hulu, so there's a lot of jokes in there about Hulu. I just love how he always bites the hand that feeds him. So, and then the only other thing I really watched, I did a rewatch of the 2009 Hills Have Eyes, directed by Alexandra Aja. That was good. It's been forever since I've seen it. Cool,
Hell yeah.
cool effects, cool gore. Those mutants are just, I love the design of the mutants. They look just like so gnarly in it. It's very cool, especially the one with the giant head that's drooping over the back of the chair. Very disturbing. That's really all I watched.
Cool.
Tad, really? Just one? You had more.
I was trying to think. I've watched some TV and stuff, but the only movie I think since we last talked was John Wick 4, and I loved it. My only issue was that Donnie Yen's character Kane. He's a blind hitman assassin that uses blades, badass. But the entire time he wore like big sunglasses, and he reminded me of Ken Jeong from The Hangover. So I just kept thinking in my head like, what's up, gay boys, and motherfuckers, and all the.
Did you
funny
die?
Right.
Did you die?
Yeah, so I eventually got that, like when he started actually kicking ass, that thought rolled out of my head, but that was like my one nitpick, but otherwise, yeah, it's so badass. Don't have a whole lot to add to that. Rest in peace, Lance Reddick, in real life, passed away. But no, I can't really think of what else I have clicked and watched, because I've mostly been watching Snake Alley shorts and fights, a lot of fighting, and watched a little bit of a XFL game, which that was enough. So
Come on.
no, I think that is all. I can't. I literally am like racking my brain this entire time you guys were talking, and I'm like, I don't think I've sat down and. Oh, I watched part of The Signal.
Just part? I watched the whole goddamn thing. Again.
Me too.
I got up to a point and I was like, I've seen this, and I got on Letterboxd and I'm like,
Yep.
It's logged, and Jason has it logged at the same time as me from 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So, And then I started Googling, and I'm like, yeah, we did this one. Okay.
Yeah, for the bonus episode, I almost said that my number one most watched movie was going to be The Signal.
Oh shit!
And reason why, because Tad keeps picking
was
it for
supposed to
Unwrapping.
be for Unwrapped, but last minute pivot.
Yeah. That's what I watched.
All right, awesome. Well, it is time to get into some unwrapping. Everybody get their movies out and ready. Start taking that cellophane off, sniffing the inside of the case. I love
Nobody
that fresh-
sniffs it but you.
Love that smell.
You weirdo.
Okay, quick question. Did everybody actually open and watch their picks, or did they just
Stream. Come on, that's a great question, Mike. It needs answered for real.
I will admit something, okay? But here's the thing.
Damn it.
Here
That's
is
the
the
whole
thing.
point.
Here is the thing, okay? I physically carried my wrapped copy of my movie to a friend's house, and he unwrapped his copy first that was unwrapped, that was still in the wrapping, and was playing it already. So what am I supposed to do? Unwrap it and take out his disc and put mine in?
Yep.
I mean, I unwrapped mine just for the sake of it, but I didn't watch my copy. But it's
Oh.
the same. Yeah.
It's at least out of the wrapping.
Yes, it can breathe.
I
Mine
have
is kind of a technicality too because it was previously
Andrew.
unwrapped. It was previously unwrapped.
So you faked
But it
it
was
for
part-
us?
It was one. It's
Two
part of a
movies in one
two-pack.
package. Yeah.
So I mean, I held off on watching
Oh,
the
that's
second
right.
movie for this episode.
But
So-
but you recently watched the first within like the last month, so you unwrapped it like in the last month.
that's also true.
So that's it to me. That counts. That's pretty close.
Of course, you would try to make something count. But Mike has to bring his
I
with him.
brought mine as proof, unwrapped.
Hear that?
There you
Open.
go. Oh, there you go. It's proof.
It's a good question, though. It needs. I'm glad.
So it was myself, Tad, and Andy were the ones that picked the movies for this out of our collection. And the first one we're going to talk about is, and I didn't write down the year. I believe
1971?
Yeah, I was going to say 1971.
Your pick.
My pick was Twins of Evil.
Oh God, have mercy on this poor, unfortunate creature.
In old Gothic Europe, they had two burning passions: witch hunting and devil worship.
Practice the black arts. They worship the devil. They're all slaves to Count Karnstein, and he is their evil master.
Do you know what I want more than anything else? To meet Count Karnstein.
They look alike. They dress alike. Two identical beauties. But one of them has the very devil in her.
For you, all pleasure should be supreme.
These are the men they call the Brotherhood.
Seek out the devil worshippers by burning them!
And this is the sister who is about to enter the Devilhood.
Look, what do you see? We are the undead, immortal.
The devil has sent me twins of evil.
You will be Maria now, unsuspected, good and kind. Think of the havoc you can cause.
I thought it was your sister that I loved. But now, I know. Maria.
Twins of evil.
A religious sect led by Gustav hunts and all women suspected of witchcraft, killing a number of innocent victims. Young Kathy, Gustav's niece, will involve herself in a devilish cult and become an instrument of justice in the religion. So yeah, Twins of Evil took me a while to realize it wasn't a movie. It wasn't called Twins of Evil because of all the cleavage.
Come on.
It's about these twins,
Evil.
and one becomes a vampire. You know, it's interesting because they don't talk about the vampirism in the trailer or even in that description I read on IMDb. So you kind of got a feeling it was going that route, but I don't know if it was supposed to be a surprise or not. But yeah, it wasn't bad. It was pretty cool. You know, it's that it's that late '60s, early '70s, like British film type. I don't think it's a Hammer. I don't think it was a Hammer. Was it a Hammer
wasn't.
film?
It is
Oh,
Hammer.
my
I
bad.
thought it might be.
Okay, yeah, Hammer film. So that explains a lot. You know, and sometimes those Hammer films can be a little slow, a little draggy, and this one is too in parts. But you know, once any scene that involved like the guy that turned out to be a vampire, had my attention. I think he really, I think, stole the show, and Peter Cushing, of course, too. He's
Prick.
He major prick, and he's just the guy that, like, with that stern look as he's hunting for witches and gets all accusatory of everybody.
No nonsense.
Very no nonsense, but
Not
yeah.
not a fucking sliver of humor in him.
No.
He's
No.
very, very by the good old book.
I mean, right out of the gate, when the twins show up at his house, and they're in these like drab brown dresses, and he gets all up in their business about their outfits being way too colorful and flashy.
They should be mourning their parents, right? Whatever.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty good. I'm glad I finally got around to watching it. Another check mark in my Hammer Films viewing that I feel like I need to get more watched.
Yep.
What'd you guys think?
I don't know if this is part of my Hammer box set or not, but if it's not, I'm glad it's free to watch on YouTube, so I don't have to own it. I didn't hate it by any means, but I found it. I'm finding out something about myself, and I don't think Hammer films are for me. The sets are cool, and the scores are cool, and I love all the actors, but they just cannot keep my focus. Like, they cannot keep my interest long enough.
I get it.
I hear that.
Yeah, and it's going up against two pretty fast-paced movies on this episode, and I hate,
right.
and you know what? I should never ever like rate a movie against its counterparts on this show, especially one where the movies are not even on a topic, because that's not fair to that movie. But I don't know. It was a bit slow for me at times, and I love a slow burn, but it's just like not interesting up to the points where we find out that she's a vampire, and it takes a bit to get there. And they actually develop their characters. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but maybe not for me, because I just want to get to it.
I felt like every time they started to do something that I thought was unique and interesting, and then it like derailed. There was that moment, and maybe they did more with it than I remember, but there was that moment when the one twin first gets bit by the vampire and the other one wakes up feeling it. And I thought, oh, they're going to go that route with it. That's interesting. The whole, psychic link, the
twins can feel each other. Yeah,
right.
The twins from G.I. Joe.
Tomax and Samont.
Yeah, there you go. But I felt like they didn't really do much with that. Am I wrong? Did I miss part of that?
No, they just implied it, I guess,
Yeah. That would have been neat to keep going in that direction. But.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, but I can see how you guys, thought it was they couldn't, hold our attention. I mean, just I agree that you know, Quaker Oats Van Helsing was pretty good in this.
I think it's just a time period for me too. Like there are not a lot of movies set in this era, this time period. It's a period piece. I'm just sort of like,
Yeah.
I'm already asleep when I see a fucking wagon.
I'm usually in that boat too,
Black
just
Sunday,
because
and
I
that's
feel
about
like
it, right?
yeah.
I love like all the Edgar Allan Poe AIP stuff. That holds my attention a little bit
Yeah.
better than this stuff does.
And I think,
that's
like-
relatively same time period.
I think to your point about Black Sunday is that it has so much atmosphere to it that helps it. Because
Visually,
otherwise, watching movies from that time period, I just have a complete disconnect. So like the horror part isn't working. The character development isn't working. It's because I have nothing to really connect with.
You
in the
never
film.
really liked oatmeal, so
There's that too.
I was
But
mostly bummed
did
that.
you guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. Did you guys? I had to start laughing when Peter Cushing was just like, "We will cleanse them by setting them on fire." I'm like, "What the fuck?" We'll save their souls, but hey, we'll just
Shit escalates quickly with that dude.
they're
Oh, yeah.
he's all about setting a bitch on fire, man. He's just, okay.
Yeah, I was mostly just bummed at Mike for making us watch a part 3 of a trilogy, the Karnstein trilogy.
What? Oh, I had no idea.
That's right. This is part 3. The first one was The Vampire Lovers, 1970.
Okay.
Lust for a Vampire, 71. And Twins of Evil.
Oh man, those had
A
so much.
series of vampire films by Hammer.
Those first two had so much more.
Lesbianness.
Yeah, damn it.
Vampire Lovers, lust for a vampire.
Lust for a Vampire.
But I thought I might have saw this guy when we watched Vampire Circus. Was he in that too, or?
I don't know.
You use the same sets as Vampire Circus.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It really did. It's in my trivia.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I noticed it.
The poster for Vampire Lovers looks similar. I mean, style-wise. And
Yeah.
yeah, I liked the movie. I thought it was fine. And yeah, anytime I can check something off the Hammer list, which is definitely a blind spot, or has been, it's getting better, but I'll take it. And this was more, yeah, like y'all said, I agree. It just on paper, it's awesome because it's like a witch film with vampires. Like, that's fucking cool how they just mash those two genres together, really. And I liked all that. But yeah, gets a little slow. But
Yeah.
But shot on film, 70s. I like it.
Gotta love that.
Gotta like it. So.
Tad, what trivia do you have for this one?
Not a whole lot. Like I said, the film used the same sets as Vampire Circus. There's a lot of trivia about the twins themselves. They were from Malta and still had thick Maltese accents. So,
I thought so.
they simply like ADR'd their dialogue with British performers after the movie. Let's see. I had a little bit more on that. According to Playboy playmate and actress Madeline Collinson, the occurrence of twin births was incredibly common for their family, noting that nearly every woman in the Collinson clan had given birth to twins one time or another. In fact, Madeline and Mary's mother, a former model, would later give birth to a second set of twins.
That poor woman.
And they were the
Lots
first
of buns
ever
in the oven.
the first ever twin playmates to pose for Playboy magazine.
Yeah, I know this
rele-
is bad, but I was glad that they, eventually there was some nudity in the movie.
Oh yeah.
It helped to get to the end of it.
Released as a double bill
Regained
with
my attention.
Hands of the Ripper, which I'm not familiar with. Yeah, so that's, like I said, most of the stuff. I guess there's one thing that is not related to the twins. Damian Thomas broke his artificial fangs while biting Madison. Well, I guess it is involving the twins because he's biting one of them. But yeah, everything in the trivia is about the twins. So, I mean, it is Twins of Evil. So,
Yeah.
That and Peter Cushing, I can just watch him all day.
Oh,
He's
hell
great,
yeah.
even though he's
Hell
just
yeah.
kind of a one-note dickhead in this one. But
this was his first film after his wife died. Rest in peace, Helen.
then I'll give him a pass.
No wonder
No
he's
wonder
so mad.
Yeah, I wonder.
We did get a sweet ass decapitation though.
Yeah.
That was pretty badass. That was pretty violent.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like when it when it comes through, it's like, okay, this has potential to be awesome. It just takes a bit to get here.
Yeah.
It just hammers it too much. It's yeah.
Ba-dum-ching.
All right, moving on. Tad, what is our next movie?
Our
What'd
next
you unwrap?
movie is from 2013. I unwrapped a different movie first, but this the movie we went with is World War Z.
Does it live in a jungle?
No. Oh.
Is it really fast?
No.
Does it live on the Great Plains of Africa?
No.
Hey!
What is going on? Hold on, guys.
Daddy, be careful on the road.
Jerry?
Get back in your car right now! Remain with your feet!
Are you okay?
We're getting out of here.
Terry, what is this?
It's the same worldwide. Is anyone doing better than we are?
We don't know.
I'm scared.
How do we know they're coming?
They're coming. Ready?
Go, go, go!
I need you to help him.
You're asking me to leave my family.
I'm not gonna force you. Don't pretend you're not well suited for the job.
Baby?
Tell the kids I'm coming back. Just, I'm coming back.
When former UN investigator Jerry Lane and his family get stuck in an urban gridlock, he senses that it's no ordinary traffic jam. His suspicions are confirmed when suddenly the city erupts into chaos. A lethal virus spread through a single bite is turning healthy people into something vicious, unthinking, and feral. As the pandemic threatens to consume humanity, Jerry leads a worldwide search to find the source of the infection and, with any luck, a way to halt its spread. So this was directed by Mark Forster in 2013, so we're coming up on an anniversary already. This is just one that has completely slipped me. I think maybe it came out sort of in that height of the zombie rise again, for lack of better words. And it's been sitting on my shelf because I found the 3D Blu-ray on clearance at Big Lots for $1.25. And I could not pass up a 3D Blu-ray of anything for $1.25. So I watched this in 3D.
Nice.
That was really cool. I mean, I will try. Yeah, I'll try not to make that part of my review. But I think, honestly, like, in my mind, I've always had this as, like, Brad Pitt zombie movie. It's right there with, the Dawn of the Dead remake and Resident Evil and all these big mainstream studios trying to punch their ticket into the zombie genre. And this was really fun. This is really cool. I mean, it doesn't really do a whole lot of new stuff, but it's very tense. Brad Pitt's always been an awesome actor. It's well directed. It didn't blow me away, but I really enjoyed it, and I never checked my phone during it, so that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I assume all of you have seen this before?
This is a first time watch for me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess afterwards I probably should have I mean, for the listeners, this replaced the Signal after I picked a Signal. We realized we'd already covered the Signal a few years back. So this was last minute pick, and then I realized there's also an unrated version after I watched the theatrical, but I imagine what's streaming is the theatrical PG-13 version. So I don't
what
know.
I watched.
Okay, so yeah, first time watch for me and Andy. What did you think, Andy?
I liked it. It's that you mentioned 2004's Dawn of the Dead. It has a similar start that way. It's very pedal to the metal, and there's a lot of paranoia, and nobody knows, what's going on. So it doesn't really let up until Brad Pitt's doing his investigating on what he needs to find out what's going on. I mean, taking refuge out on ocean liners where nobody is sick and everybody's quarantined that's like a first. I was just like, wow, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, smart idea.
But there was nobody can know what would really happen if this did happen, I should say. But I mean, sometimes I think it's like it was almost for a zombie movie that I'm used to and that I kind of like. I know that it would affect the world, but just like them climbing on top of each other and doing that, I was just like, okay, I think that was just a little bit much. It was almost.
But that was fucking cool. Come on,
it does
awesome.
look cool. It does look cool, but I mean, it's just like, yeah, and it doesn't ruin the movie for me, but I do like, just, I mean, and maybe they borrowed this from Walking Dead, just, them just studying the virus and learning how it interacts and, how it will take a healthy person in like 11 seconds. It's just like, which explains why, it spreads so fast, why it's such like a bum rush, getting to, healthy people, because 12 seconds and you're over.
I thought him like jumping on a plane and just flying to another country, like scene to scene, was a little far-fetched. It felt like, it's like, can't you just call someone? I don't know, but
yeah,
it made it interesting because it's like, here's what a zombie plague would look like here. Here's what a zombie plague would look like there, and it puts them in different situations. Here they are in a dark, rainy climate. Here they are in a desert. Here they are in a city.
Yeah. Or snow zombies.
Well,
of course he didn't go anywhere cold, but
I always felt like they did that because of the book. This is based on a book by Max Brooks.
Yeah,
and I mean, I can get more into it when I discuss my feelings on the film, but I felt like that was like the connecting thread to the book was having him kind of jump all around the globe.
Well, the name of the movie is World War Z.
True.
So, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I can't be hypercritical knowing the rating of the movie going in, because I knew it was going to be a milder, zombie movie that I'm used to, and that's okay. Yeah, overall, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was more of it's probably the more epic zombie movie that I've ever seen. But all in all, yeah, I enjoyed it.
You don't always have to go last, Mike.
I know.
Yeah, I fucking love this movie. I was so happy that Tad messed up and we got a chance to watch this movie. I've been wanting to watch it again because the first time I watched it, I loved the shit out of it, and I was like, I've been wanting to watch it again, and thankfully we got to.
You guys see it in theaters?
I think I did.
I don't think I did.
It's the scope of this thing. It definitely would have looked good on the big screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that my favorite part of a zombie film is the outbreak.
Oh, man.
Watching it start and spread. right? Like that's the really interesting part. Just seeing, we didn't necessarily get a patient zero, and that's okay. But just seeing it spread and start, and like, and it felt fucking, it was real time. I mean, kinda. It played out that way a lot, and that was really great. And yeah, Brad Pitt's awesome. I love that first scene when they're finally getting out of that building onto the helicopter, and he comes running out of there and jumps to the ledge, and you're like,
What the
What's he
fuck's he
doing?
doing?
What's he doing?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Just in case he turns, he
I'm
knew.
like,
Yeah.
that's fucking cool. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's would you? Could you? Yeah, probably. But yeah, and yeah. So, and then I love the. I mean, right. It seems like you're either team Romero zombie or team Fast zombie, but I think you can do both.
Zack
Right.
Snyder zombie.
Oh, my bad.
Snyder cut, bro.
But
Oh my god.
But the fast zombie, man, I don't give a fuck. They're both.
I love them
they're both
both, yeah.
terrifying. And
Yeah.
it's
For
scary
different
as
reasons.
fuck. Yeah.
Give me both. I want
And-
all the zombies.
And them climbing that fucking wall is like, I don't care if it's ridiculous. It's also probably really realistic. Of like of bloodthirsty, got to get over that wall. They're gonna fucking just go.
It's like when ants create bridges out of their
man.
bodies. You know?
Absolutely. And yeah, freaking loved it, man. Just yeah, I think that was most of the stuff.
Yeah, Mike, have you read the book? Is that what you're?
No.
Well, I'll get to that, but I just want to continue on with what Jason was saying, because that's exactly what I was going to say. My favorite part about movies like this is the opening scenes where the outbreak happens. And I like that there's no patient zero, because I feel like we're getting almost like our perspective if something like this would happen. It's like subtle things are happening in the background that if you're not paying attention, doesn't seem out of the ordinary. But if you are paying attention, shit's going down. And just watching just like normal society quickly devolve
it doesn't take too long for things to turn to shit, does it?
Nope.
Mike likes to watch it burn.
That's
Yeah,
right,
he
I
does. do.
Yeah.
How'd it get burned?
That's my favorite moment of a zombie apocalypse is the beginning, and just watching that. And I could do a whole movie of that. As a matter of fact, what was that that movie about the girl who's slowly turning into a zombie?
The girl with all the gifts?
No.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. I wish you'd watch that.
Where she was patient zero, as we found out in the sequel. What the hell is that? Oh man, whatever.
No help.
Yep. So anyway, the only thing I was going to bring up about the book, and I don't want to be that guy of like, there's nothing like the book, because it's not. It's nothing like the book, and that's okay. It's its own thing, and the only thing that's a bummer to me is that the book is so, how would you adapt this into a movie kind of book? Because it's all journals. It's about the history of the zombie outbreak in the world, in different countries, in different time periods, and it's all like military chronologically documented. Yeah. And it plays like you're reading government documents. So it's a really interesting read and really unique take on the zombie thing. And just when this movie was first announced, I'm like, oh, how are they going to adapt that?
By just not adapting it.
Right.
Exactly. So, I'm just a little disappointed.
It's military based, but
yeah, and you get that all over the world stuff.
Yeah.
The movie on its own is fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's a fun zombie romp, but
which isn't a thing.
But just a little disappointed in the fact that I would love to have seen them try to actually adapt this unadaptable thing. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all. But yeah, don't go into it expecting the book, because it's its own thing, and that's fine on its own too. I like the idea of them not necessarily coming up with a cure, but I guess a way of camouflaging it, where almost like you can coexist with these zombies
a
until you
temporary
get it under control.
fix. Yeah. Like a Band-Aid.
At least get some control back. And
Yeah, so that was cool.
Feels a little, relevant right now, right?
I was going to say that,
years.
yeah. Like, the first time I watched this, we didn't have a pandemic. This time it was like, oh, this feels different when I watch this movie.
It is, it is interesting watching it nowadays compared to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I liked it, yeah, and it can be a little over the top and stuff with some of the things like the zombies, building a ladder to the top of the, but it's still cool. It's still fun and intense. It's such an intense scene because I'm sitting there going, "Stop freaking singing that song!"
Right, you're attracting them. Yeah, it's like a moth to a flame.
And it's just cool seeing the big scope of it. You don't get, it seems like you get a lot of zombie movies that make zombie movies because you can make them cheap. And so you don't get big Hollywood grand scale wide shots of like thousands. You made the comparison to ants building a bridge. Those was like wide shots of them running around outside of that wall.
Awesome.
It looked like freaking ants. Yeah. It was very awesome, very cool getting that scope in a zombie movie, which is neat. And I like how there's just one goal for just like one direction for the zombie. It's just no matter what the cost is getting to that meal, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
it really reminds me of like
Train to Busan.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I feel like Train to Busan did it a little bit better. But again, that goes back to a smaller scope, and so you're seeing cooler things like personal damage to individual zombies instead of like this grand scale of zombie ants climbing on top of each other. You're not getting as gruesome of mayhem as like zombies just running through a window and face planting on concrete and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
I also like how like there's moments in the film where like the stakes go up where like right in the beginning the one dude's like, the president's dead and blah blah. You're like, oh fuck. What?
Yeah, very nonchalantly.
Right. And the VP's missing, yeah.
And then like it's like super funny, but it's like the saddest thing in the world when scientist guys messing around on the plane.
Instantly slips. Yeah.
All of our hope that we have built in this movie so far. And he trips and
You know what other movie uses that? Same exact trope.
What was it? I remember.
Planet Terror.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to save the world and they have the scientists with them and he sticks his head out to check for any like zombies and they just snipe his head immediately. A bullet right through his head. It's like, oh shit, the finality of that,
Yeah. Isn't that one movie that's part of that one movie?
Yeah, it's just like a chapter in Grindhouse. But
right.
Yeah, that feature film Grindhouse.
But I like I said, I almost knew nothing of this going in. I knew, Brad Pitt, saw the trailers. I knew about the book. I have the Zombies Guide to Apocalypse, the first book.
Yeah,
I don't have this one. But after we watched it, I watched it on Blake's he has a projector with a 100-inch something screen, and we watched it in 3D, and it was so fucking cool with surround sound. And then afterwards, it was like, he was like, "Well, did you hear like all the production problems?" I'm like, "No," because Blake knew all about this movie, and so we watched some YouTube videos about it. And apparently, this was like, went over budget. They shot this movie. Brad Pitt was a producer as well, and then the studio was like, the whole third act is unusable. It's awful. We got to figure this out. So they brought Damon Lindelof on, and he rewrote the third act, and they reshot the entire third act of the movie way later in reshoots because everyone had a really tight schedule. So they had to take a year-long break and come back later. So it sat there for a while, and they had a whole different DP working. I guess at that point, Brad Pitt and the director were no longer speaking on speaking terms. So they had to go through a middleman had to give each other notes because they wouldn't directly address each other. But apparently, and there's going to be listeners who know about this, and they're going to yell at me because I'm going to butcher it because I couldn't really off the cuff of my doing this, but I couldn't find basically the original ending. But I think it's like after they leave the area that was walled in, he gets on the plane. That plane does not have the grenade scene. That's where everything's different from that point where he throws a grenade in the plane, which is really fucking cool scene, but really stupid.
Yeah, I like that. I love that.
But apparently from that
into the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything after that was reshot. Apparently, like that plane made it, and this was not just like in the script. They shot the whole third act and then went back. Wow. And he goes on to this other, I don't know what country it was, but like he gets there and it's this country basically is taking people and making them like slaves, but everybody has a job to do, and Brad Pitt's character gets like basically condemned to checking these underground tunnels to clear them of zombies. And like it flash forwards like, I don't know, 10 years or something, and he's still doing that. And he's assumed like he's trying to get his way back to the US to find his wife, but he hasn't been in contact with her. He doesn't know, but he has like a big gray beard, and he has like, he's got the big hood on and everything. And it's just sort of like a, not really an ending, and but it did leave it open. But apparently it was just like the studio and everybody just agreed it was awful. So they went back and completely reshot the last third act.
Wow.
And no one's ever, like, it's never been publicly put out there.
Oh, I want to see it.
Yeah, me too.
Man.
But before we move on, on Google, you just type in the movie, and then there's like people also ask. Like under there, I just wanted to read the first 3 questions. It's really funny to me. I hope this does not become a segment, but
new segment time, everybody.
People also ask. This first one was neat. Why was World War Z 2 canceled? And it says, in conclusion, World War Z 2 was canceled due to multiple reasons, including departure of the director, Brad Pitt's busy schedule, and China's ban on zombie and ghost movies.
Well, I also read that
real?
Well, they made some kind of cut where apparently like they would have gone to a health organization or somehow implied that it happened, an outbreak happened in China, and they're like, well, we can't do that and then release it in China. They'll never let it happen. And then I guess China still banned it. So, yeah. But I don't know about them not allowing. I mean, isn't that their whole horror thing is ghost girls? I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
The second question is the most ridiculous thing yet explains a lot about our society. The second question is World War Z based on a true story? That's the second most popular question people have asked.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes. Isn't that the stupidest
everything you saw on the screen happened. It's true.
What is it?
Well,
I'm assuming
who's typing
somewhere.
that in?
I assume that they're talking about the book because it's like
I do
done.
too.
Because the book reads so straight.
But based
Right.
on a
Like
true
it's-
story. It's so good. And then so the third question, why is World War Z so good? Come on. And then their answer it goes into about, at least because it was based on a book and it's a dumb answer, but that's ridiculous.
Drinks
things.
Pepsi.
Yep. True story.
Well, I mean, okay, in their defense, imagine you're reading the book, okay, and it says like,
oh yeah,
in ancient Korea, like, they had instances where like the dead would rise temporarily, and it's like, I want to know if that's true because we've heard about like voodoo zombies and Serpent and Rainbow, like that shit, that's
real.
based on real culture.
Yep.
Like, it's not necessarily, So I could see people reading that book and saying, okay, is some of this based on truth? But yeah, when you put it, it's World War Z based on a true story. It's fucking stupid.
Anyway, that's what I had. But.
Oh, that's awesome. Tad, what trivia you got for this one? You probably said most of it already.
There's all kinds of it, but I have to give my best friend Brian Clark his due here. Peter Capaldi is a doctor with the World Health Organization, the WHO or WHO doctor. The filmmakers had inside knowledge. Yeah, the filmmakers had inside knowledge that Capaldi would soon be portraying the title role in Doctor Who. The BBC publicly announced the casting 2 months after the film was released. So this was before, I don't know, somehow before. Anyways,
I'll work
so
up
yeah,
a little Doctor Who sound effect just for
he
you,
played.
Brian.
Yeah. And then at the time of its release, this was the highest grossing film of Brad Pitt's career, which isn't that surprising. I mean, he's incredible, but he's. I mean, it wasn't like he was in like blockbusters. He's in really good movies, but.
This movie's awesome, and it's on Netflix, people. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. If you read through this, a lot of it is interesting. Like Max Brooks, he sort of went into the movie knowing how much it was not based on his book and thought he would hate it, and he actually liked it for the reasons that they strayed away from it. It was like this is so far away from my book that it doesn't like hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like. It's his
still
own
got his paycheck, and,
and it's and it's his own thing, and it's own thing. So it's not like it would be more heartbreaking if they tried to adapt it and failed.
Yep.
So they just did their own thing and succeeded, and he's like, it's cool that we have both now.
Yeah, very much so.
A total of 85 prop machine guns, rifles, and pistols were used in scenes filmed in Hungary, but they were confiscated by counterterrorism customs officers in Budapest after being flown from London. They apparently thought they were real.
Plastic guns. All right.
Yeah. So, like I said, there is like a laundry list here, but if you watch this and enjoy it, go check out the trivia on IMDb because it's never ending.
Thank you, Tad, for some trivia there.
You're welcome.
Andy, what is your film that you unwrapped?
Our next film is a Lamberto Bava film from 1986, and it is called Demons 2.
Hey, wait! There's something weird here.
how much of a trailer. But here we go. A documentary is shown on TV of a group of teens who investigate the legendary Forbidden Zone in which a demon infestation once took place. Demons 1. Finding a lifeless corpse of a demon, one of the teens causes the resurrection of it, and the demon makes its way into the nearby world of TV broadcast. An unlucky girl having her birthday party at that time gets possessed by the demon while watching the documentary, and soon the entire building in which she lives turns into a living nightmare. I like this one. It's personally, I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it's it's kind of like I guess this is probably the first Evil Dead Rise in a way. But you've got the film debut. I know I'm correct, but we know when we see her. It's the film debut of Asia Argento, and she's a kid in this film, and she gets trapped in the parking lot, which is one of my nitpicks about this film. We never know what happens to her. Did you guys notice that?
No.
Yeah, they never, she's in the car and nothing ever had that she's still there. But basically it's kind of like Evil Dead, you just these demons are running throughout this high-rise apartment building, and people are just trying to stay alive, and just mayhem ensues, and the effects are still really, really cool with the teeth pushing out of the head and all that, and Pimpy McSideburns from the first one makes he comes back in this one, and he's
goddamn.
Yeah, he's awesome in this. All the stuff that happens in the parking garage in this, I absolutely love. Them just peeling around and they're throwing seats in front of the doors. They're trying to get out of there, and that guy's awesome with a 12 gauge shotgun. Yeah, there's great headshots in this film. Another crazy one is where a kid gets possessed by a demon, starts chasing this pregnant lady around her apartment, which is hilarious. And then all of a sudden he just falls down, and then a Venus flytrap looking thing comes out of his chest. Really, really great stuff. It's really fun. There's a great kill with an umbrella that just impales this thing, and he pushes it through the wall. Another character that was in the first Demons makes an appearance in this as well as a security guard. But there's one part of this film that I couldn't quite make sense. There's a car crash, but that never really gets resolved either. I think that was just, another way for them to basically go back to the way they did the old film, because there's punk rockers in a car, and oddly enough, the driver looked like Tommy Fury, which kind of made me laugh. But they get into a car crash, and that's the only reason that it's tied to the apartment building is because the people from the apartment building are trying to get back to their son, and nothing is ever really resolved from that either. It's not a fatal crash or anything like that, but it's like, well, okay. This one, unlike the other one, I mean, it does have hard rock, but it's more like a new wave soundtrack. It's got the Smiths and Love and Rockets, I think. Yeah, all in all, it's pretty good. It's about this, it's got this guy trying to get his pregnant wife out of there. There's
a little kid demon.
Yeah.
A dog demon.
That's right. There is a dog one. But yeah, lots of explosions, and it's it's a typical zombie demon possession film where you just got to kill them and just keep running away. But I prefer the first one, but this one's a close second. I enjoyed it. What did you guys think?
It's like a double Unwrapped because I got to unwrap this one myself. I have
Nice.
that.
I think we have the same set, don't we?
Yeah, I have the 4K 1 and 2 set. It's awesome.
Mine's just the Blu-ray,
Yeah.
but
And I've seen the first one several times. I think I listed it as my favorite movie of the year I was born, 85. So this has been on my radar forever. I owned it, and so I got to unwrap this one, and it fucking rules, man. Like it's not quite as good as the first one, but I mean it's very similar and it's a sequel. I mean, it's like most sequels of that time where it's like it has some good stuff, and it at least was like smart about it, in that it's like meta, where they're watching this documentary on TV and they tried something different. It wasn't just like more demon possession in the same, in like a different area or something. And you could tell, let's try this in like an apartment building. Let's put it in a gym and put it in a parking lot or a parking garage. And just gives us an excuse to see some gnarly gore. And I've always loved the transformations in these movies.
Right.
And so we get a lot more of that. And we get some even weirder shit where creatures are coming out of dogs and and as soon as you see the pregnant woman in like the leotard, it's like, oh no, this is not gonna end well. You see a little boy in an apartment, you're like, this is not gonna end well. And then like you said, we get the big awesome Italian Ken Foree back, but he's in a gym like motivating a bunch of muscle heads. I'm like, this is gonna end good. So I really enjoyed it. I did miss, obviously missed the movie theater aspect of the first one, which adds to that atmosphere. And there's no cool like motorcycle katana scenes, but I don't know how you top that. So they did something different, and I think it'd be nice back-to-back double feature. It's really fun to sort of see what they do with this, and I had a blast with it. And it's short and sweet and doesn't drag at all. It's this one again. I will say I missed, like, the first one had a really cool soundtrack. This one had like the same song over and over again that we heard on that trailer. It's like the same guitar riff throughout the whole goddamn movie, but still cool.
I love both of these movies a lot, but the first one is definitely far better because you get crazy cool stuff like riding around a motorcycle with a samurai sword or helicopters crashing through the top of the movie theater. But just the backdrop of the whole film of the first movie, I just personally love. Again, the movie theater aspect of it is so much more enticing and appealing and cool than just a modern apartment complex. So yeah, but there's still a lot of cool stuff. I like, there's cool tension with the stuff in the elevator. That stuff is really neat. I like the little ghoulie that pops out of the back of the demon kid's back and is running around. I just like that puppet so much. It's a little bit ruined by the constant high-pitched screeching that it does the whole effing time.
It's almost like a comical thing. Like, it almost makes it funny.
Yeah.
Well, and I want it to be scary.
Just watching that foam latex puppet flop around was funny enough. I didn't need the screeching. Kind of want to just put it on mute during those scenes. And you get that with Italian stuff though. There's always something that something cool that they do. Like the first time it screeches, it's like, okay, that's kind of neat. But then they just drag it out to the point of annoying.
And Sally, I was gonna say, Sally has the worst fucking friends. Like, she goes storming out of one. She doesn't even come like out to her own party. No one's concerned about it. Then she comes out to a party, storms off into the other room because they invited the wrong guy, and no one thinks about it. They're ready to blow out the candles, and they're like, "Where's Sally? You haven't noticed she's been gone for an hour at her own fucking birthday party? You guys suck."
Yeah, they're not very perceptive, are they?
Not very good friends with Sally.
Or they just don't give a shit.
Well, they're just there at a party in Sally's house or apartment, and it's like, where's Sally? Yeah.
I love this movie, but I will say, like, when I first watched it in high school, I hated it. And here's why. It was when I was first getting into Italian horror films and didn't understand how Italian horror films sequels work. So when I'm like, oh, Demons 2, cool, we're going to get this post-apocalyptic, demon movie where the whole city has already been overrun by demons. And then I'm watching them like, they just did the exact same thing they did in the first movie. It's the exact same thing.
If it's not broke.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, in comparison to pretty much every other Italian sequel out there, this one is the most connected to its previous film. And I appreciate, it's almost like we're getting, in this day and age where, like, thanks to Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything else, the best picture of the year, we get all these concepts of multiple universes. I feel like this movie is kind of doing that too. It's kind of like a parallel universe to the first film. And the whole opening documentary is a nod to that first film, where that first film happened. But then this movie is littered with a ton of the same actors that were in the first film playing different roles. So I feel like it really adds to that, almost like this could be a parallel reality kind of scenario. I always liked the idea of, like, the monsters popping out of a TV. That's really cool, and that effect was really neat.
I like that effect a lot.
Yeah, that effect was
for being
really
bad,
neat.
it was good.
Video drumish.
I mean, that still looked good for. Yeah,
they did it better than Video did.
Cool.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I love how at the end, the husband is like instantly, he's like smashing all the TVs and stuff to keep her from popping out again in a shorter amount of time than it took for her to stand there and watch the demon pop out of the one TV at the beginning of the film. Like, you could have just smashed the TV then, and it would have, the movie would have been over. I like how they show that shot over and over and over again of that demon girl running down the hall. They use it in like every location, but it's the same shot. Yeah, the effects are cool. There's some cool gore. What I love about both of these movies is the look of the demons, and they're consistent. There's a consistency to this look, which puts it in the a legitimate sequel to the first film, because I feel like we're dealing with the exact same creatures from the first film. Even down to the demon child, his makeup was great. There's that scene where he's like, his head, she's trying to squish his head in the door where he's trying to claw his way through, and the makeup's holding up underneath that stress, and I just thought it all looked really, really cool. I just love the overtop greens and yellows that you get in those demon makeups.
And those contact lenses.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they show the close-up of Sally and she's at the studio and she's like, the baby has just been born, and we realize she's blind. She like sticks her head through the curtain. It's a real close-up of the face.
Yeah.
And that's just, seeing those eyes like bloodshot and white, it's just so cool.
Yes, very cool, very cool. Although you think she still could have attacked them just based on sound, because that baby was crying the whole time. But regardless, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, and even though this franchise continued, this was the last of the good ones. So, Demons 2, check it out. What do you say, Jason?
I love this series' first movie.
Oh.
Here we go.
Yeah, here's the thing. So everybody take a drink.
Who is that, a drinking game now?
I did not enjoy this film like you guys did. I feel like the what you heard of the quote unquote trailer that we played is what this movie is. It's 90 minutes of fucking screaming and grunting, and I'm not fucking kidding. It's 90 minutes of fucking screaming. Like, actually watch it again, and that's what it is. I'm trying not to say bad words. Yep, it's not for me.
Kid show.
Well,
Hated it.
you saw what happened to Italian Ken Furry. He got that testicular claw put on him. You'd scream too.
Guys, it's 90 minutes of that trailer. It's just
it is.
screaming.
I mean,
it's so fucking annoying. It sucks.
It's
I
like
hate it.
it is like
couldn't hold it in.
Almost the opposite of Twins of Evil, where it's like a quiet character study. This is like these guys are gym rats. These people are party people. This is a family. Like there's no developing them, and it's just like let's find ways to kill them, and that's fine with me. Like this, I could turn my brain off and just enjoy the stupidity for an hour and a half, and I don't mind. I mean, it's not something I would. If I'm in the mood for it, which I was, I could really enjoy it. But I can see where Jason's coming from too, where it's just like just never stops.
It does not.
But it does. I will
relax.
say, when they cut to like the documentary or the footage when they're watching, I love that scene where they find the demon under like the wood, and they're like, "We found a demon." Oh, we gotta document this. We're gonna be rich, or whatever. And her blood from the cut drips into it, and it comes back to life. That was so fucking cool, and that was quiet.
Jump started.
In the beginning of the movie, there's at least two references where they say, "Hey, it's dark in here," and they're standing in light when they say it. This fucking critter is the ugliest and dumbest looking rubber puppet.
Aw,
It doesn't
I love him.
function in any way. It sucks. It's just a rubber puppet that doesn't move. How can that be in any way scary? And yes, his noise it's not cool, and it makes a stupid fucking noise, way too loud, way too long. I even got like, I don't know. I felt like maybe Tad's influencing me, but I had a hard time watching The Dog Business. Like,
Yeah.
that sucked. And I don't think I like this demon teeth shit. I hate it. It's too gross, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
It makes me uncomfortable, which is I think is why I like it. Anything
It's
involving teeth.
transformation. Yeah, it's
teeth, or like in the first movie when the fingernails are
Yeah.
popping out and the demon nails are growing underneath it.
I really wanted that chick to get slapped in the elevator. She was just freaking out.
And he keeps telling her, like, calm down. I mean, that's a prime example of what Jason's talking about. Her losing her shit in an elevator, and he's just like, be quiet, shut up.
I did have a little crush on Nancy Brill, though. I thought she was awesome and great, the pregnancy lady at the end.
Yeah,
I thought she was awesome in this.
Awesome. Yeah.
But nope, fuck the rest of it.
Oh,
Okay.
bummer. Talking about the repetitive music, did you guys actually listen to or read subtitles of the lyrics to the rock song that the punks were listening to in the car?
No.
I think it was their second scene or whatever.
Might have been Love and Rockets.
Oh man, I wish you guys would have, because I thought it was hilarious. It almost sounded like the lyrics were literally like a news broadcast about the traffic in the city, because it's like the tunnel is closed and you have to go a different route. That was like literally the lyrics. I want that song so bad. I'm like, oh, this is cool. They do their news as rock songs. That's awesome. All right. Well, that's a bummer. You didn't like it, Jason.
Yeah,
but
sorry. Not
now
for
we
me.
get it. I will take a guess that this will probably be Elgin's favorite horror movie.
Because there's Masters of the Universe toys in it.
Exactly,
Hell yeah.
you got that
I almost,
too. Oh, yeah.
I was going to take video and send it to him.
Forgot
I'm
all
like,
about
but I
that.
don't want him to ever have to see this.
Oh.
So I didn't.
Come on.
All right, Tad, what trivia do you have for this one?
A lot of it is just not really even trivia. It's like, hey, the guy that played Tony the Pimp is back. But I found some interesting ones. The resurrection of the first demon, which is the movie within the movie, was done by filming a melting wax head and then playing the footage in reverse, which is an old trick, but really worked well. And then the first demon popping out of the television was done by having an actor wearing a mask press his face against a latex screen. And big surprise, shocking revelation here, the little boy demon was actually played by an adult dwarf. I don't know if you guys caught that. It wasn't actually the little boy in the makeup.
I figured it was.
It was very obvious. I mean, no offense to dwarves, but they do not look the same as kids. So yeah. There's other stuff too, but I mean, is this really trivia? Shooting began on June 30th, 1986. Okay.
Cool, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my.
The movie was made.
Yeah.
No kidding.
This was an Italian production.
Well, the scene where Hannah has a baby was not in the original script. Hannah's baby would have become a demon inside of her and clawed its way out, but it was taken out when Liberto Bava and Dario Argento decided they wanted a little bit happier ending.
It's
For
in some
once in their
descriptions, though,
careers.
too, that there's a demon baby, and I'm like, oh. And then it doesn't happen in the movie. I'm like, oh.
We all thought it was going to go that route.
Yeah.
And so kudos to them for throwing us
Showing
off.
restraint.
Sure. All right. Well, man, there's cellophane all over the floor. We've all unwrapped our movies, and we're ready to put them back on the shelves, never to watch again. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be the segments part of the show. First, though, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network called, you guessed it, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. I don't know why you would have guessed it. The PFPN is home to 30-plus shows, including The Horror Cast, a group of 6 friends, Walshy, Morknado, Horror Gal Susan, Reverend Vin, Mr. Venom, and Captain Creepy review horror cinema old and new. Check out one of the best, next to Attack of the Killer Podcast, movie podcasts on the web. You can listen to the Horror Cast and all the other shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show. Next up, we're going to hear from you, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what have you not seen that's still on your shelf wrapped in plastic? And we got some brave souls to fess up. We got attacker Jacob McLaughlin. He says, it's not wrapped in plastic. I open all of my movies upon buying them. I remember when you used to do that. Like, we couldn't even get out of the parking lot.
No.
You got it open, and then you do your strange ritual of sticking your receipt inside the clippy of the...
Yep, I still have so many DVDs and Blu-rays that have the receipts in them. And it's kind of fun. So every once in a while, I'll pull it out and see what else was purchased that same day or whatever.
But Jacob says, but I haven't watched my Vinegar Syndrome disc of Uninvited yet. I really should watch the Barf Cat movie already. I know.
Heck yeah.
I keep hearing all about it. Tim Lennerer says, I haven't seen the 1975 Shaw Brothers horror movie, Black Magic, yet. I'll get to it at some point, I'm sure.
That's a good one.
Over in our Facebook group, we got that one guy, Mr. PhD Who himself, Brian Clark. And that jerk face. How am I supposed to read these words? These aren't even words he wrote. You jerkhead. I am not even going to try. These are, and I'll get to the ones I do know. Dead Girls. Skip that one.
Wow.
Darker Than Night. Poison for the Fairies.
What's the first one?
I can't. You try reading it. I am not going to. Sorry, Brian. I don't know what language those things are.
Call in next time.
Yes, leave your goddamn voicemail.
I was thinking that too, that Brian Clark should join the other Brian and start leaving voicemails as well. And what he could do for his voicemails is whatever films we're talking about, connecting him to Doctor Who.
No, he always does.
Bond Darwaza Varina. He's trying to get me to read from the Book of the Dead, isn't he?
Yeah. Condor.
I'm going to wake something up if I read this list.
I know. Anyway, nothing on Twitter. Over on Instagram, we got, Attacker Emily, Zombie Queen Strange says, I collect a lot of cheesy movies, so here's the first 4 I found. Nazi Overlord, She-Bot, Bride of Scarecrow, and Sushi Girl.
Oh, Sushi Girl is good.
Sushi Girl I've seen.
I don't know the others, but Sushi Girl is awesome. The only problem with Sushi Girl is they give away the movie in the title. So that's kind of a bummer. But it's got Mark Hamill in it. It's got... isn't our buddy Ben Clayton associated with that film somehow? I can't remember how.
Mm-hmm.
Tony
I think
Todd?
he did the storyboards.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then like Brian, I think she made up all those other titles. I'm not sure.
She probably went shopping with Godzilla and got him at Dollar Tree.
I believe it.
I wish Dollar Tree had cool movie titles
Wait
like
till
that.
you hear his voicemail. Anyway, one more to go. We got the Reebster, old school video _ Inc. He says, still need to watch my Coffin Joe trilogy. And
why haven't you done that?
And Night of the Demon, which I hear is a Bigfoot dick ripping good time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I love that review.
Yes, a Bigfoot dick ripping good time.
Sasquatch rips a biker's dick off.
That should be on the box.
It should.
Quote, yeah.
Reebster.
Reebster.
And here is our weekly voicemail, Godzilla.
Hey, everybody, Attacker Brian here, and it sounds like we're doing another Unwrapped episode here at Attack of the Killer podcast. And if I had a penny for every movie I had that was still in the wrapper, I'd have like $5. I could go to Dollar Tree and buy 4 more blu-rays and leave them in the wrapper and not watch them. But seriously, well, not seriously, because we know that's not a joke. I was looking through my movies, and I happened to come across Sugar Hill, still in the wrapper, never seen this movie, and on the front it says, meet Sugar Hill and her zombie hitmen. The Mafia has never met anything like them. So I think my job this week is to watch Sugar Hill. And everybody should pull a movie off their shelf they haven't watched, sit down with some popcorn, nice cold drink, and have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Godzilla.
Sugar Hill is awesome. Yes,
Is
he
it?
definitely needs to watch that. It's one of my favorite 70s black exploitation films. But it's one of my favorites because it's more in the horror realm than, say, like a Shaft or Rudy Ray Moore movie or something.
Cool. Well, thank you, Godzilla, and all you guys can leave a voicemail just like you did, like you should, Brian Clark. You give us a call at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us that voicemail, and we will play it on the show. And before we go, we got one more segment. It's time for Insane's Picks.
Oh, man, I love screwball comedies of the 1980s, man. Hamburger the movie, joysticks, screwballs. And this next Insane's Picks is no exception. What do you get when you take part Police Academy, mix it with the weirdest concept for a trade school, throw in some necrophilia jokes for good measure? That's right, you get 1988's Mortuary Academy. Two nerds, Sam, played by Christopher Atkins, and Max, played by Perry Lang, inherit the grim mortuary and academy from their uncle. But in order to keep their inheritance, they must attend and graduate from the academy. The current owner, Paul Bartel, tells the Grimm brothers that if they fail to graduate, the ownership of the business will stay with him. Paul Bartel, along with his assistant Mary, played by, Mary Warnoff, is also a professor, and actually the only professor really at the academy. They conspire to make sure that the brothers do not succeed. Paul is also secretly necrophiliac. The school is full of incompetent students, and all kinds of wacky hijinks ensue. There's one student that impales dead bodies. There's another that brings a puppy back from the dead with robotic engineering. The movie is gross at times, dumb at most times, but it's still a whole lot of fun. Everything you would want from an 80s screwball comedy. It's a little lesser known, so I wanted to bring it to your attention, and it's always worth it anytime you get Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff together again. So that's my Insane's pick for this episode, 1988's Mortuary Academy.
Screwball comedy.
At its screwiest.
Wow.
So that is it for this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. Thanks to all of you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave us iTunes reviews while you're at it. Also, you should totally check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's some pretty cool stuff on there.
Don't we have a TikTok now?
We have a TikTok as well. Go ahead and subscribe to that too. If you like our show, consider becoming an attacker at jointheattackers.com. So there's so much Attack of the Killer podcast you can get in your life.
And if you like our show, consider getting mental help.
After you do all those other things.
From a professional after you sign up.
You'll need it.
And remember, if Toy Story taught us anything, not only are toys made to be played with, but DVDs and Blu-rays were also made to be watched. Unless it's a Tom Cruise movie. So we'll talk to you on the next episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. Bye-bye.
No, could this